you do work on your house and then you go to sell your house, right? And you have this, and prices have increased and you may have a tax liability on capital gains. But if you have your receipts and stuff from your major work, those are all deductions
Right. You're so smart. I wouldn't have thought of that.
So that's like one reason to keep everything, because at the end of the day, many, many years from now, you want to be able to prove you spent a whole bunch of money on your house, right, to help with the tax liability.
Right. And also, I agree with that. 100%.
Right. And then the second reason is for what we're talking about. You never know. Sometimes pieces of paper get lost, or you sent an email in and to one building inspector and now there's a different building inspector. And sometimes, those building inspectors are replaced for a reason. And sometimes that reason is they're really bad at paperwork.
Wait. Hi, everybody.
Good morning. All right.
Okay. Very exciting.
I always keep this one ear out.
Oh, hello.
Yes.
I was like, why can't I hear it?
They're not just for show.
It's been a while.
Right? There's really, we can hear all the stuff that you can't. Right now, there's commercials going on in the ear.
I couldn't hear you.
I'll bring us in. I'm going to bring us in. Welcome to the Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Christine Koenig with Keller Williams, licensed in New York and New Jersey, hosting today with
Suzanne Dermody. I'm with Howard Hanna Rand Realty. I'm out of the Goshen office, but I can show you houses anywhere.
How are you doing?
Good. It's good to be back full time.
Yeah, so excited for people who are newer to listening. Suzanne was on with us, all the time.
Yeah.
What, maybe 2 years ago?
A couple years ago, I stopped. Yeah, just got a little crazy.
I feel like you had gotten into you had this grand jury duty thing that just
you have such a good memory.
Sucked up every Monday.
Yeah,
and it was just got to be so frustrating for you. You're just like, I can't do it anymore.
It was for a year and a half.
Oh my gosh.
In White Plains. I had just gotten a new car. I was so upset that I was putting all these miles on my car.
Yeah.
And it was in White Plains, and it was grand jury, which was really fascinating. I would highly encourage everyone to do it. And year and a half, two days a week. It was crazy.
My stepson is actually just finishing up his grand jury duty in Sullivan County.
For how long?
He was, I think, 2 months. It was much shorter than yours.
Yeah,
and it was every Wednesday, not every Monday.
You kind of feel like it was like a sentencing, you're like, what? Wait. But then once I became the secretary of the group, so you get to kind of take the notes, and it was really exciting in that respect. But after a year and a half, it's kind of like Stockholm syndrome.
I just don't know.
You actually miss these people after it's all over with.
Oh, well, of course, that's a long time. In my mind, There's your civic duty, right, and our justice system, and that all makes sense. A year and a half is really a burden on the people. How many people can take a year and a half of Mondays?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know what the responsibility is of your employer, but everybody, they pay you, it's like $60 a day. Or
$6 a day.
60, I think it might be $60 a day or something, 63 or.
Buy your lunch.
63, right, that
maybe
kind of thing.
Half your gas.
And it was, but it was, you felt good doing it, but it was snow, rain, a year and a half.
Right. So
go through everything.
A super interesting thing Jared had said about this was, if something is going to the grand jury, the prosecution has enough to really make the case.
Right.
In a year and a half, how many things did you not move forward?
We moved everything forward.
You moved everything, and that's what he said.
Yeah.
If it's coming in there, because it's just the first phase. Is there basis to?
Right. So mine was federal.
Right.
And for the Southern District. And it was pretty impressive how the federal agents and the federal IRS agents had their T's crossed and their I's dotted.
Yeah.
And you had witnesses come in and, give you their statements, and it was fascinating in that respect, and it was good. I encourage everyone, you'll get that letter, send it in, because you want to fill it out, and you want to do this, because it is an education. It really is. So, and the whole federal level, going down to White Plains, so it was really it was great. It was actually during the bridge construction.
No,
I think I saw a lot of construction.
I waited in a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
No, just I saw the bridge being dismantled, and it was fun though. But I ended up it was the cost of, I couldn't do everything.
Anyway, so the point being, welcome back.
Yeah, so excited to be back. I'm happy to be back on board.
This morning we're going to talk a little bit about, I guess we're going to talk about some of the struggles that some of our first-time home buyers are having, and we'll dig into that in a few minutes. And then I think we were talking a little bit about additions.
Well, we were talking about Grace was going to be here.
Yeah,
and
I
Grace
know.
wasn't able to make
I'm
it.
the fill-in today.
Yeah, no, it's all good. And she had just had a deck put on her house. Right. And I just recently had a deck put on our house, and we were kind of talking about the process and what it adds in value to your house, but also what it adds in value to your family,
to your life.
Because and she just had a big party for her mom, so it was great. And we were just talking about how important permits are, going through that process, and getting a good contractor is so important. So we were,
and not always easy.
No, not anymore. Right. It's difficult. So
well, because there are a lot of people doing a lot of work, and so contractors are really backed up, right? And then they're also struggling sometimes to get the materials that they need, so they get backed up again. And as the homeowner, you're pressuring them to get the job done because you don't want to fall, and which you have to, because there are so many people, right? Squeaky wheel gets the grease. So if you're like, oh no, I can wait, they'll do 400 other jobs before they get to you.
Well, she said she interviewed 3 contractors and only 1 got back to her. And fortunately, he happened to be exceptional, and she was very happy with it. But what we're talking about is that what you cannot do is, if you want to do something to your house. And good example. I showed a house yesterday. I showed a couple houses yesterday. I showed a house yesterday, and the buyers are like, "Oh, I love this house. I love this. This is great. This is great." And you're just kind of looking around. And I'm like, "It's great, really. And I'm so happy you love it. But I just have to make sure that this is up to code,
right? Because
I don't know if the county or the town knows this is on the house, and we just want to, make sure." And that takes the real estate agent going back through the tax documents and everything, making sure that they went through the proper channels to put the additions on, which is what Grace and I were talking about with the decks and things like that. Because you could be responsible for dismantling what you've spent money on, and you really don't want to do that.
Yeah, I have a seller right now. They bought a house that had a addition done at some point in time. They went through their municipal process, right? And they got, they were allowed to move in. So, quick, it's on, you can see that the building, like that part of the building is on a survey somewhere, and they've got the certificate of occupancy. And, now the people buying it, they're like, well, we want to see the permits. And they're just like, we didn't build it. We have a certificate of occupancy, and we have a survey with it on it. Clearly the town knows it's there, right? And so now the question is,
the certificate of occupancy should be
enough. And that's what I said to them. I said, go through the municipals from when you bought the house, find your certificate of occupancy in there. And that's what we're going to show them, because you guys didn't build this. And when you bought the house, someone did, your attorney would have gone through all of this stuff. So go through and find what you have.
And that would definitely be online, not online, but at the building inspector's office in your file. They will have it. They go back, as far back as the documents were being done. So they'll have that information. They're very good at, they're hopefully very good. Christine is going like this. Listen, very good at keeping records.
I have to tell you, on more than one occasion when I've gone into building departments across the area, we had Sandy, and a lot of those building departments had paper records then.
Fires, going back.
There are a couple places that have lost a lot of the records.
This is true.
That. And it was all before people weren't required to be fully digitized back then. And so I have had problems in places where the records have been damaged or destroyed and they don't have them.
And it definitely gives cause to the homeowner, if you're the one doing any additions or anything that you do to your house, that you feel you should save your receipts, save your documentation, your paperwork. It doesn't have to be in a strong box, I don't think, but definitely a file. And I do save, like closing documents and just until I move to the next house or something.
Yeah, for sure. I know that 2 reasons to save them. Number one, when you do work on your house and then you go to sell your house, right? And you have this, and prices have increased, and you may have a tax liability on capital gains, But if you have your receipts and stuff from your major work, those are all deductions that.
Right. You're so smart. I wouldn't have thought of that.
So that's like one reason to keep everything, because at the end of the day, many, many years from now, you want to be able to prove you spent a whole bunch of money on your house. Right. To help with the tax liability.
Right. And also, yeah, I agree with that. 100%.
Right. And then the second reason is for what we're talking about. You never know. Sometimes pieces of paper get lost, or you sent an email in and to one building inspector, and now there's a different building inspector. And sometimes, those building inspectors are replaced for a reason. And sometimes that reason is they're really bad at paperwork.
No, right. You're right about that. Yeah. So it's so important to, if you're going to, it's so easy for people to say, I'm just going to finish a room in my basement. Why bring the town in? I don't want my taxes to go up. Your taxes won't go up that much.
Right.
They really don't go up a lot. I finished a basement in our house, and it was like 750 square feet. It was our whole walkout. We put a bedroom, the egress window, everything dotted, everything was correct. And maybe my taxes went up $800 a year. I don't think that's a lot of money.
Right.
I think, it might be for some, I'm not sure, but I thought to have all that additional square footage in my house, I felt that was justified.
Right.
And then, fortunately for us, county taxes have keep going down.
Yeah, they're pretty.
Yeah, they're subsidized, I think, by sales taxes.
Flat.
Yeah, they're very flat.
So, all right, we are going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, when we get back, let's remind people how to get in touch with us.
Okay.
Do you want me to do that?
Yeah. Where's the number?
Yep, in my head. 845-651-1110. It took me, it's taken me 5 years to learn that number.
I know.
And then here's our text number is written right up here. I don't know why we don't have the phone number written here too, so that when our brains are like, ugh. I used to have to look it up. But now that I'm doing Facebook Live, I can't use my phone in the middle of the thing. So here we go.
And what are we, 93.5?
Oh, it's right there. I don't give that. I really just tell people how to get in touch with us, and then I tell people how to get in touch with me or with you personally.
Yeah.
So make sure we do all that because, promotion.
Yeah.
And then we'll go into this and start chatting that up.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm going to be 50 on Wednesday.
Oh, happy birthday. That's so awesome. I'm 61.
I know. So. I feel like the 50 is that hurdle, and I feel like it doesn't really matter after that.
No, I've always been like, I've never minded any birthday because I kind of feel like as long as Jack keeps aging with me and he keeps doing it a little bit better than me, but he keeps aging with me, I'm totally cool with it. I think, but 50 is fun. It is fun.
I'm having a ladies' brunch. That's how I'm going to celebrate.
Oh, that's so cute. My girlfriend just had her birthday and she took a whole bunch of us out for dinner. It was so much fun.
I know. I just sort of I felt like because Mike's like, we're gonna do a party, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't want all of that.
I think that's great.
So, welcome back to the Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Christine Koenig with Keller Williams, licensed in New York and New Jersey. Hosting today with
Suzanne Dermody, Howard Hanna Rand Realty in Goshen, New York, wherever, everywhere. Yeah.
Everywhere. So I just want to take a minute to remind everyone how to get in touch with us. If you have real estate questions, you're thinking about listing, you want to know how much your house is worth, you want to talk about the market, you want to talk about an addition, so many different things we can chat about. You can find me, the easiest way is to call me, but nobody's going to have a pen with them. So just remember my website and it'll have all my contact information. That's www.listwithchrisk.com. And Chris is with a C.
So clever. Mine's
Easy.
a phone number.
Yeah.
So I'd say grab your pens if you like. And again, it's Suzanne Dermody. And my number is 845-742-3644. So it's 3644. That's an easy one. Yeah.
So, by the way, also, if you'd like to call, we're a radio show and we love to hear from our listeners.
Yes.
So give a call. You can call in live and chit chat with us at 845-651-1110, or you can text us because not everybody likes to hear their voice on the radio, and that's fine too. Our text number is 845-328-0886. So give a call. And I think someone is listening. Then we have a caller. I love it. See, hello, caller. Who can you give your? do you mean the squat? Do you mean the squatters or that?
No, I think he's talking about, I think LifeLock advertises things like that, and they're saying that, you have to protect yourself with your deed because people can, scam your deed. And then a scammer, I mean, I don't put anything past a scammer. So I do have LifeLock, not for that reason, just for, for every reason, really,
Right.
we do have it. But more so, my biggest concern these days is squatting.
Right.
That's a concern.
It is what New York just had a new law, and about 3 weeks ago we had Bob Krahulik come on, and he talked for an hour on
Great.
squatting.
Wow.
So we can go back.
What was his conclusion about squatting? Because in certain places, like let's say Atlanta, for example, it's not a problem. They're almost, supporting people who were squatters because of other typical rights, that people had from the past where they were going to be evicted. What did they say about squatting here, like in Warwick or Orange County?
Right. So the conversation we had with Mr. Krahulik was that in New York, once someone is in your property for 30 days, they are considered a tenant, and then they have tenants' rights. Right. Before 30 days, you have a reasonably good way to have someone removed from your property, right? Because they're trespassing at that point in time, and they don't have a right to live there. Since we've done the show, there was a change in the law, and I'll have to look it up so that I can speak from it intelligently. But there were some concessions made to make it harder for someone to claim that they live somewhere when they actually are, kind of have invaded the space and are just, taking advantage.
I would say that 30 days is not long enough because
No, but that is the law.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Because and a lot. That's correct. And that is exactly what someone said. You can be away during, like, if you're a snowbird, you're away for the winter, and then you come home and someone's living in your space, and those people are legally allowed to be there now, right? Another thing people have been doing, if you start to see like weird mail at your property, that could be someone trying to establish that they're living there before they even live there. But like they're like, oh look, I've been getting mail here for months. So it's
a big problem. I actually have clients that I spoke to on Saturday who are moving to the area and from New Jersey, and they have a condo in New Jersey. And I said, oh, hey, well, why don't you? They're like, well, we're trying to get ours sold. We're having a little problem. I said, why don't you keep it, part of your inventory and, build your portfolio as an investment person, investment, property. And they were like, no way. We had a tenant. We couldn't get out, and she trashed it, and it took us months and months and months and money to get this person out who had destroyed their condo. Yeah. And I was stunned. And this is like Jersey City, or, like, these are savvy people, and I can't imagine, why this is happening, that the law, I understand, tenants have rights and things like that, but not someone who doesn't have a lease.
Right. I feel like there are two different things there, right? A squatter never had a lease to begin with. Someone who is a holdover tenant that refuses to get out is treated differently, so to speak. Anything is possible
again,
out there.
Scammers
right?
will do anything. I don't know. It's a problem, and to the point where you have people saying, "No, I don't want a secondary property," which is wealth building. That's an important part of real estate, being able to have multiple properties and tenants appreciate it. The good tenants,
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's a good question. We appreciate your phone call, definitely.
All right, thanks, Mark.
Thank you for calling in.
So,
yeah,
always very exciting.
Yeah, but it is scary.
Yeah, and I will say, Bob Krahulik did a really nice job, kind of talking about that. I think he talked about it for about 45 minutes.
Wow.
And I think that I have that up on my YouTube channel. I put the video.
Okay, I think I might repost it. If that's okay.
And then I also have it on my Facebook stream. So you guys can Google me, find my Facebook page. Or my YouTube channel, and you'll be able to listen to Bob talk about all things squatter.
Right. Wild.
So anyway, that being said, while we're talking about frustrating real estate things,
Yeah.
let's talk about our younger buyers and their frustrations trying to break into this market.
Yeah,
right?
it's very difficult. Again, I took a lovely couple out yesterday, and we went to see this house in Monroe, and they, I said, do you have a pre-approval? And he says, well, we're working on it. And I said, it's okay, I don't mind taking somebody out that doesn't have pre-approval. It's all part of the process, process of elimination on housing. And he said, but the mortgage broker is saying I need to put down 50%. I said, what are you thinking? That houses are expensive. And he said, because, they're a young couple and their income is X, and they have to be able to get a pre-approval. It's got to be, the payment's got to be in their wheelhouse.
Right.
And for this bracket, in a high bracket 10 years ago, but nowadays it's basically a normal bracket.
Are we talking
$500,000. Yeah,
500.
500. You're not getting a palace at 500.
It's crazy, but
It's crazy. So I felt so badly for this couple, and I've read that what's important not necessarily is the interest rate, because that can change.
Right.
But what's important is being able to negotiate and getting the house for a price point that you're comfortable with, because the price of the house can't change, but the mortgage rate can change. You can refinance,
Right.
and that does make a lot of sense.
It does. At the same time, you still have to qualify.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have to qualify. But I'm just saying, so this couple is living in a very small apartment.
Mm-hmm.
They have a baby, and they're thinking, we need more space.
Yeah.
And I actually was reading this morning about another couple in Chicago. They have, multiple 3 kids in a townhouse, and they're kind of outgrowing it. I mean, they're fortunate they have their own place, and they want to upgrade, but they can't upgrade. The inventory is low, like what we were saying.
Yeah.
So I read this morning, the 3 colliding factors. These are the highest borrowing rates in nearly 2 decades,
Right.
crippling shortage of inventory,
Yep.
and also a surge in home prices. So
Right, and those things are all correlated, right? You get the
Yeah.
surge in home prices because there is such low inventory, and we have so many buyers out there still.
yeah,
It is interesting. I know that all real estate is local, right?
right,
And although a lot of people listen to national real estate news, and it doesn't always tell the story that you need to understand about where you're looking right now, right? So if you're looking to buy a house somewhere else, don't listen to real estate news here. You really have to find someone who can be a good local source for you where you're buying.
that's definitely
Right.
like, so say if you were going to buy in Arizona,
Right. What's happening here is irrelevant to what's happening in Arizona.
Right.
And vice versa. What's happening, if you're looking to buy here and you're listening to the nightly news and they're giving you national real estate stats, you're not going to understand what's happening here. Even the market between here, Hudson Valley, and 15 miles away
Westchester.
in Westchester or
Yeah.
northern New Jersey, right? The markets are different even in those things. And
Yeah,
as
sure.
someone who sells in both states, I have to make sure I know what's going on in the real estate market where I'm going to be listing something or
Sure.
selling something, right? Because not only are the markets different, the practices are different, right? So, to be able to properly advise my buyers, right? But the whole point is to understand what's happening locally in your market. So, having a conversation with Suzanne or myself or whomever your real estate agent is, looking at how many, what are the days on market doing, going up or down. You want to look to see, is inventory creeping up, right? That is a good sign that you may have a little more leverage.
And you would say, as far as, this is how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
So the market was much slower a few months ago. It's starting to percolate. Do you think that's
When you
true?
say slower, you mean number of houses on the market?
Well,
I feel like
I would say, I'd say everything. Buyers were there, but transactions there's not a lot of houses.
Right, it's all inventory driven.
Right,
So I will say it's this. We're still in spring, and I am seeing a little more inventory.
Right.
Which is good. But it's also spring, and there are more buyers.
Right.
So-
But the inventory is not meeting the buyers that are out there.
Still not meeting the buyers that are out there, and which is why it's still competitive.
Right.
And in this area, prices are still. They're flattening. They're not spiking like they were, but they are still. They're on a slow increase still. Right.
Right. Right. That's what I was
There's
reading.
still buyer pressure pushing those prices up. I will say, I just listed a house down in Little Falls, New Jersey. It was a multifamily, but it was like a nice cape with a legal apartment over the garage. We listed it for a good number, right?
Well, you can tell us.
Right. Oh, we listed at $599.9,
Okay.
right? It comped a little higher, but we wanted to keep it under that 600 to get a lot
Sure,
of, right?
more inventory. Get buyers.
And so we had over 100 showings. I had over 20 offers.
That's crazy.
in 1 week.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
wild.
and-
That's
but
great.
In terms of my sellers, they really had they were able to take advantage of that.
Right.
So,
And how did it go exponentially higher, or was it within the? Do you feel the?
oh no, we got a great number. Because
And was it
because
cash?
we had no cash offers.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I would say 6 months, 10 months ago, it was predominantly cash.
Right.
So I think though there's still cash out there, I know Westchester is still a lot of cash, but that's just interesting to me because
Yeah.
there's a lot of, there were a lot of cash offers.
Yep.
So that's good because that says the market is kind of, or at least it's all settling a little, getting back to somewhat of normalcy.
Right. What I also thought was really interesting, I haven't sold a multifamily in a while. And what I thought was particularly interesting is that I had 3 different real estate agents put offers in on the house for themselves because they wanted to quote unquote home hack, where they were going to live in the small apartment and rent out the bigger space, so that they would have someone pretty much paying for their mortgage. So I thought that was particularly interesting that we had attracted that many actual real estate agents themselves to the property.
Right. Well, yeah.
So we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Scarily though, that's what goes back to this whole squatting thing. Like this couple that I was speaking to on Saturday, they couldn't get them out.
Yeah.
And she was a tenant, but she had trashed the house.
Yep.
I
I know, and then the only thing you can do is take someone to sue them
Right,
for the
right.
But they didn't have the money to pay you to live there. They're not going to have the money to pay to fix what the damage they've done.
No, they didn't. And they had, and when I had said to them about building inventory, they were like kind of like, oh no, I can't.
Right.
It's like, no, I totally get it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was, it's kind of crazy what's going on, but
It is kind of crazy what's
Yeah.
going on. So the other thing, as a listing agent, I knew that we priced just a little low, right? Because I wanted to hit that price point on this house.
This duplex
Yeah.
specifically, right?
Right. So, but you when you have that much activity, and I know it's a busy market, you second guess yourself. Where was I on that pricing? I mean, and I know, and you can't price a house too low. It's going to sell for what the market can bear at
I
any
would
point in
say
time.
you probably priced it well, which
Yeah.
is why you had so many showings. I mean,
And the fact that I remember I said I had 3 real estate
Right.
agents. None of the real estate agents put aggressive enough numbers in to get it. And I know that they are number dominant people.
Right,
so
right.
they also looked at the market to see what's the market value. So I know that these guys are doing great on this house because we got them more than what 3 different real estate professionals plus myself thought we would sell
right.
for.
That's great.
So it's
So where are we going with this now?
oh
So I'm kind of running, I think, also the highest rate. Okay, we can talk about that. We can talk about, I've read.
yeah, we can talk about regionally what's going a little more, right?
Right.
Talk about that some
More, yeah, because you had mentioned that. And,
right, but we can talk about the South and the
We can or cannot?
Can.
Yeah,
We should talk specifically give some regional information. All right. Welcome back to the Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Christine Koenig, hosting today with
Suzanne Dermody of Howard Hanna Brand Realty, New York. I work in New York, yeah. It's
I
great.
love that. So, we've been talking a little bit about, first-time home buyers and some of the struggles they're having. But
it's also second because this one couple in Chicago, they had already purchased, so it's not just first.
right. It's
really,
step-up buyers as well.
Yeah.
Although I think that a step-up buyer has a leg up because they at least have
a property.
they
Right.
have a property. They're going to sell it. It also went up, so their
Right.
initial equity, right, still has gained in value. Whereas someone who's not in the market at all has no initial equity that is gained, and they have to step into this higher equity position right from the get-go. And
I was going to say the only issue I was thinking when I was reading this article was, okay, so this family who they bought the house for like $580,
Yeah.
a townhouse in Chicago in Lincoln Park, which is a great area.
Yeah.
So they bought the house for $580, and then now they say the value is worth about $700,000.
Right.
But the interest rates are too high for them, so they're going to wait until interest rates go down. But once interest rates go down, they don't know what's going to happen to the value of the property. Are they going to lose some of that equity? Possibly,
Right,
in the
but-
house, but not as much.
Right, well, and the thing that people have to keep in mind is markets come up, markets come down.
Right.
If you're already in the market,
Yeah.
right, your house is going up or down in sync with everyone else's.
Correct.
Right. So at some point in time, yes, your house may have been worth $700,000, right, and you wanted to buy $1 million house, but now your house is worth $650,000, and you're going to buy a $900,000 house.
Right.
Right. Everything goes up and down.
It's all relative.
Together. Right.
And real estate, historically speaking, is still the best thing to invest in. I mean, it's such a great thing.
Right. I mean,
You
it's
know, it really is.
it is a market. It goes up, it goes down. But if you look at the history of housing, right, long term, right, if you take the big bumps out, right, and straighten that line out, kind of pull back enough to look at it, it always goes up.
Yeah,
Right.
Absolutely, the
At least,
trajectory. Right.
yes, the trajectory is up. At least historically, since the housing stats were collected.
Right. Correct.
Right, and even when we have big plummets like 2008, 2009, 2010, right, we're up
Well above that.
well above
Yeah.
like where we were at the peak in 2006 and 7, right before that.
That's crazy.
Right. And so, but I remember Joe Rand used to say real estate cycles are about 17 years. Do you remember,
Yeah,
you remember
and
he
then
said that?
of course.
And he had like these graphs that really kind of showed that. So
Yeah, he's good at that
it's
research. Right.
it is very interesting, and I kind of use that sine graph of 17 years, right? Like if you buy in a dip, and you sell kind of halfway through that cycle, you should be in a good space, right? If you buy at the height and need to sell in a dip, you're never going to feel good about real estate being a great investment, right? You have to have the time for whatever is going on in that cyclical market to surge back.
Right.
So there is that. By the way, on a Debbie Downer, I don't want to be Debbie Downer note, but so here's the thing I've been thinking about a lot.
Go ahead.
And I know this is like the long-term worry that I have. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I've been reading a lot about declining birth rates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I've been, understanding a lot about our baby boomers,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I do.
Which you are not.
I am not.
I am.
Barely.
No. I'm 62 and 64 or 65
Okay.
is I think 64. But go on.
So, and
So be
if you look-
careful.
if you look at the long term, right, we're going to have less people and then more homes on the market kind of all at the same time. So I will say we have there's a 20-year horizon where I can definitely see that there's going to be a dip.
No, I do think about that, truthfully.
Yeah.
And when we were talking about, they were saying as far as home values in the Northeast are still maintaining themselves because, and there's construction, but it's not like explosion construction.
Right.
Whereas I was reading in the South, which it has been explosive because there are
There's space-
60
there's
million
space to build.
baby boomers out there, or there every year it's declining.
Right.
And they usually gravitate to the South, not us. We're
Right.
staying up here. We love Orange County. But they, so there is, and we look what happened in Arizona, Las Vegas.
Right. Right. They built so much inventory.
So
Right.
much.
They built their way out of the inventory crisis. Right. But now they have a more stable housing situation there. So you're not seeing escalating prices in those areas where they were
No.
able to build themselves out of it because they don't have the demand.
Right.
Living up here in the Hudson Valley, if you think about it, I'm sitting here looking at the copy of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, right? We are states where when people came to the country, this is where they came. A lot, we have a lot of historic homes up here, homes that have been here since the late 1700s, early 1800s. We've been building our way out of inventory a lot longer than other people have. And so we are a little spaced out, right? And then we do a lot of things to protect agriculture and stuff like that. So where some developments may have been able to be built, we've protected those by maybe buying the development rights to keep our
Right, green space
farmlands,
and things
right?
like that,
Keep
right.
our farmlands farms. So, in doing a lot of that, you do end up kind of limiting, right? And then we do have a number of big cities here that are commutable, right? Like we are at the edge of commutability,
Right.
We can go up into the mountains, right? But A, building in mountains is hard, and B, there's not a city to support, right?
Right, a workforce.
The workforce in those areas, right? So, if you look at how suburbs grow out, eventually you do reach a point where you're not really a suburb anymore. You're just, you're just in a rural space, and there's not a lot, to really tie to until, a new area starts to really develop and,
Yeah, no, I mean, I like the Northeast. I'm totally into it.
Yeah.
As far as the South, so you'll have some subdivisions that'll have 1,500 homes, and it's crazy. They're huge.
They're huge.
So, but
while we're talking about hot markets and not so hot markets, it's been very interesting to see like Montana, Colorado, right? Like these places in my mind are rural.
And Texas too, yeah.
Texas,
yeah,
right, are rural, but like the average home price in some of these areas is close to $1 million.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think there's so much land that they're coming with large parcels of land. I mean, maybe probably in Bozeman, Montana, downtown,
right?
Where you're not getting a lot of land. You're getting an expensive house, right? Definitely. Yeah, no, and there's a lot of attraction. A lot of people are going to these rural areas. Yeah. I know a lot of Californians left California and they're going to Texas, Montana, Idaho, all these places, probably Colorado.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, the demographics, how it's all playing out.
Yeah.
So we shall see. It's kind of
it feels really
fascinating thing.
It feels really cold in Montana. It's I don't understand it.
Yeah, no. Well, I think I've never been to Montana, but I want to go to Montana. But I hear it's so beautiful.
Beautiful, yes.
So that's what I would like to experience. I have been to Colorado. I went to a real estate conference in Aspen a couple years ago with Joanne Maxwell and I went, and it was fascinating. Really enjoyed it. The Rockies and all that.
I have been to Colorado a few times. When I graduated college, I really thought that's where I wanted to move, right? And so like I did an internship there for maybe 3 months, and you know what I learned?
It was far from home.
Well, I learned that there's no place like home. It was really nice. It just didn't feel like home to me.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So it was that was a learning moment about myself because I was convinced that's where I was going.
Isn't that funny?
And then after about 2 months, I was just like, and I lived in Boulder, I worked in Denver, right? Like I really had like a couple,
it all going on. Yeah,
and I was just like, nope.
Yeah, that's so fun. I mean, it's interesting. Home is home. Home is it's a beautiful place to be. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's I tell the kids all the time because kids always are like, I'm moving away. I'm like, okay. I said, I'm excited to come visit wherever you live. I said, but you'd be surprised that you live in a really great place.
Well, it's funny you should say that because I always say about Goshen and Orange County in general that you grow up here, you grow away from here, and then you realize, wait a minute, I actually had a good thing going on here. And you come back to Orange County. And a lot of people who we were talking about Florida, move down to Florida, they get to be, once they retire, they're like, I'm out of here, warm weather, They go down there and then they realize, oh my gosh, my family's in the Northeast.
Yeah.
And they come back to the Northeast, and it makes sense to me. I don't want to be away from my family. Every now and then we flirt, like, should we get something down there? But it's like, no, our grandkids aren't there.
Right.
Why would we spend 6 months away from our grandkids? And it can't all just be financial.
No, to me, my perfect retirement includes 2 months, maybe 2.5, right? January, February, maybe the first 2 weeks of March, somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right, but not the same place somewhere else.
No, mine's the same thing.
I want to go
travel.
I want to travel. I want to explore new places like every year. Try something
That's
new.
so fun.
Right?
I'm telling you, that is actually, it's not Jack's dream,
right,
but it's mine. I think, well, why don't some year we'll stay in Colorado, or we'll go to England, or we'll do, really kind of rando.
Right.
Just go wherever.
I feel like as real estate agents, it take you kind of have to be a little
wanderlust kind of thing
to really love this job and do it as long as we've done it. And I think that plays into our personalities.
Yeah.
Right. And not everyone is like us, that.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think that's a fun way to kind of go about it. I don't want to sell my house. We're just about to pay it off.
This is my home. I love it here.
I love it here.
I hate
so
winters.
Glad to hear that.
And so
I love winters.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
Oh no. Yeah. I like the first. I'm good to stay through the first winter storm. Right? Ooh, snow. Love it. Okay. I'm out. It's the,
I
and
do
really,
love the
it's the dark.
fireplace.
It's the dark that gets me. It's not even the cold.
Yeah.
Here, right. We have had some mild winters. It's the dark. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah,
I
no,
just need
it
to
doesn't
be
bother
around
me. Isn't
sunlight.
that funny how people are? Yeah, I like it. I think I love in the wintertime at 5 o'clock. It's very fun. It's festive. It's dark. It's
Are you kidding? We're like asleep by 7 in the winter. We're like, it's been dark for 3 hours already.
yeah.
We
no,
have to go to bed.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, people are different. That's what you find out definitely in real estate.
Right.
But yeah, no, I don't mind it. I love a good coat.
I love a good coat.
I do. It's kind of
It's gonna be the quote of the radio show today. I love a good coat.
I have a coat issue. Anyway, this is we're digressing.
Yes, but we're gonna take a break. We'll be right back.
I'm so sorry. I do. I love a good coat. Oh, it's so funny. Yeah.
All right. When we come back, we'll talk about. Unless we had other things. Do we want to talk about tips for home buyers? What they can do?
What can I do? You know what I said to this couple? They're like, "What do? We don't know what to do." I said, "You got to borrow money from your family."
Well, and it's funny you say that because I read an article the other day, and was literally the number one thing young people who want to buy homes are doing is borrowing from their parents.
Yeah.
Because
They don't have 401ks to borrow from for 2 months. They don't have anything.
Yeah.
And so and we'll tell this online if you want to on the radio. So I said to him at the showing, I said, "You're gonna have to talk to your parents because that's the only place you can get the money. But you have to, that's just what you're gonna do." So about an hour later, he calls me up. He's like, "Can you come back and show it to my mom?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll show it to your mom." And they were lovely. I don't know if he'd already spoken to his mom.
Right.
I don't think so. But I went back an hour later and showed it to the mom and some sisters and things like that. So it was it was funny. So
no, it's interesting. I have a family that's home shopping right now, and it's multi-generational. They're looking for a very big house, and they want something new. And the numbers are the number for what you have to pay for a large new construction home in Orange County right now is a little crazy.
oh, it's crazy.
And so what started as 2 family members is now 3 family members.
Yeah,
right?
there's a lot of that going on.
Because they were all going to live together to begin with, right? But the dad didn't want all the kids to chip in, so to speak. But to get what they really, really, really want,
Right.
it's kind of what
You
we
have
got to
to.
look at.
Right. No, it's crazy.
Yeah. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about that.
I think that's good.
And then we'll talk about my listings, history if we run out of time, if we are tough.
And we can also talk about, it's June, so we can also talk about Great American Weekends coming.
Yeah, I love that.
Anything going on with that? I love this song.
Welcome to the Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Christine Koenig, hosting today with
Suzanne Dermody.
Oh, Suzanne, it's been wonderful to be on the radio with you again. It's been a while.
On the radio. Right?
Yes, I actually said that to Mike just this morning when I was on my way out the door because it was unplanned. And I said, I'm going. I said, Suzanne's on the radio. Grace had a personal issue and couldn't be there. And then I sang the
On the radio, Donna Summer?
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of my faves.
It's funny. When I was a kid, that was one of the songs that was literally on the radio all the time. I remember that song and what is it? Baby, Turn My Brown Eyes Blue.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Those 2 songs played on rotation. They are the songs of sitting in the car while my mom ran into Quick Check or whatever.
Oh, that's so funny.
Right? It's just, that's what I remember. When I'm in the car, those 2 songs, that's it. And I visualize my youth.
That's so cute. I was obviously a little older, but it was great music. Donna Summer, those were the 70s, right? Is that what we're talking about?
It is. That is what we're talking about.
70s were good music, that's for sure.
So anyway, we want to touch base just a little bit more on our poor first-time home buyers. The struggles they're having. I had read an article the other day.
And not poor.
No, I don't mean
they have money.
I mean sad.
Yeah,
I mean sad.
Yeah,
I don't mean poor. I just mean our sad first-time home buyers.
They have money. They're making great incomes.
Right.
It's just they're asking.
Well, a lot of them
prices are so high.
Right, and a lot of them, a portion of their income is going to school loans. Right, it's like they're making good income, but they already have expenses that they're paying back, and then to now try to figure out how to save a huge down payment. So that they can qualify for the loan because home values have gone up, right? One of the things that this article was saying, and you said it to me as well, with your buyers is they're saying a lot of people are having to go to their parents to
Right.
get that chunk of money for their down payment.
So the buyer was telling me their story, and he's like, "What are we supposed to do?" And I said, "Listen, I am not your financial advisor.
Yeah.
That's one thing they tell you to say in real estate class because
Yep.
we're not financial advisors."
Same thing. I'm not your attorney.
Right, but well, I'll tell you what I did. My mom loaned us money to buy our first house and our second house because our first house we bought and then the market went down.
Right.
So we had to borrow for the next house, which we paid back and interest and all that jazz from our parents. But
Right, but you know, it's tough because when you're buying a house, you have to have gift money.
right, I did say to them, your parents have to write a letter to say that I'm giving you this money, but you know,
Right, whatever you do,
whatever
in
you
the
do, it's
background.
up to you guys.
But it has to be considered.
We
a gift.
did pay our mother back, but my mom back. But yeah, so I did
You
say
gifted her
that to
back
him.
at a
yeah,
later date.
Yeah, at a later date. So I told him that, and he said, "Oh gosh, okay, thank you." And we all went our separate ways. And about an hour later, I get a phone call from him. He's like, "Hey, can you come back and show me the house with my mom?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll do that.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not a problem." We did, and some family was with them and lovely people. And yeah, we'll see where it goes.
I love that.
Yeah. So
Good luck.
I
Good
hope
luck
for them. And
But
I
I
hope
know
for them.
the normal advice we give to people, which is, you know, save up for a down payment, use down payment assistant programs when you
Right.
can. There are some out there, but you're still going to have to qualify for that number.
Right. That's the bottom line, is that your income you have to have enough income that you can make those mortgage payments with the taxes.
Yeah.
So that's always the bottom line.
Yeah, and that gets the higher prices go, and we are, as we stated before, you know, we're flattening out, but we are still in an increasing market here. It becomes harder and harder. It feels more unachievable.
Yeah, because I remember when I first started real estate back in 2002, you'd get a phone call and they'd say, "Hey, I only have $200,000. Can you find me a house?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll find you a house. That's not a problem. I can definitely find you a house." Now, if someone came at you with, "Listen, all I have is $200,000," it's like, "Yeah, no, it's nothing I can do with that. I can't even find you a condo. I can find you a 1-bedroom condo somewhere." But it's tough, now.
Or a house that needs a lot of work.
And also, I was, again, looking online for some information. When I first got my license, I think the national price, and I'm just going to be guesstimating, was about, $225,000 nationally. So
Right.
again, that's national news. So, Alabama's in that, and Alaska's in that, all that kind of stuff. So the average price was around $225,000, where now it's
$425, I think,
it's
nationally.
above $400,000. Yeah, it was $400 last year, and now it's like $425. And that's a crazy thing, because when I first got my license, now I'm sounding old, but $425,000 bought you a really nice house.
Yeah.
But you can make any house you have nice. You can. I'm actually listing a house. I have to finish the market analysis, but out in Ulsterville, lovely people. He grew up in the house, and they just want to, sell out their inventory, and it needs work. But boy, is this thing adorable! I'd call it a cape, a kind of, not a bungalow, a cape, a little kind of a cape and a Dutch colonial kind of merged in there. Needs work, definitely needs work, but it's on 1.3 acres. It's a nice acre parcel. It's kind of in a little hamlet of the Pine Bush School District. So it's a nice house. Needs work, but it's, so you can, there are, and that, I think this price is around $325,
Right.
because there's nothing available in that price point. It's in Ulster County, but it's still Pine Bush Schools.
Right. Is it? No, that's interesting. So did you know Pine Bush Schools have 3 counties that go to them?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is. It makes me smile sometimes because, I always look by school district up there.
Yeah, of course. I always look at school district.
It's very hard, and you have so many different towns that you have to try to include in there it is a confusing part.
Right, and if you're working, and I'm sure you know this because you're so smart,
Yeah.
when you're working, firemen and policemen, they can live in Orange County only.
Oh, Sullivan, they can be in Sullivan.
Can they?
Yes, they just can't be in Ulster.
Oh, I didn't know that. I don't think that was that way back when.
My ex was a fireman, and so we were able to look in those 2
Oh,
counties.
wow.
So
Okay, I didn't know that.
Unless they change it now. I mean,
No,
it's been 20.
Yeah,
right?
no,
But
it was way back then. So it's Sullivan and Orange, but when you're in Pine Bush and they would say, send you a house, I'd say, that's not in your wheelhouse.
Right.
You can't go that far up. But even though they're like, but it's Pine Bush schools. I'm like, I know, but it's another county.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you're out of it. But that's interesting. I didn't, okay, cool. But yeah, so what else is going on in the Orange County or our area?
Well, I think we wanted to chat a little bit about fun and exciting things coming up in the area, right? Like, we're hitting our sweet spot, by the way.
Yeah, I agree with
right?
you.
Like,
well, that's why I love Orange County,
Yeah.
because I think all year long is a sweet spot.
there's always something to do here. It's,
coats and coats.
It is true that there is always something
There's
to
always
do.
something to do.
But we have some really fun things that come up this time of year.
Well, the farmers markets are all in full swing.
Yes, I'm actually just about to send out a really nice piece with all the farmers markets that I was able to find in Lower Hudson and Northern New Jersey.
Okay, great. That's great.
And there are a ton. There's no lack of farmers markets.
I know Tuesday, Florida has a
I
fabulous
love
market.
it. Yep.
Friday, Goshen has
Goshen's got a
fabulous
great one.
market. Well,
Sunday is Warwick's, and they've got a great one. Yeah, there are so many. So.
Yeah, that's great. No, we're very fortunate. It's one of the many benefits to living in Orange County. You have creative vendors. You have unbelievable farms in the area that support these markets. And it's just awesome. And I was talking to Christine before we went on the radio. Great American Weekend is coming. And so July 4th is, I forget what day it is, like maybe.
I feel like, is it a Tuesday this year or something?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's not. So July 4th is a Thursday. So they've had Great American Weekend in June, but now they're pushing it to the 5th, 6th, and 7th. So it's the first full weekend in July. And Goshen has just that amazing racetrack, the harness racing, and the museum, the Hall of Fame. So Goshen's Great American Weekend, even if you don't like, walking around the crafty things, the museum is there, the harness racing.
And they do actual races that
Oh,
weekend.
the qualifiers. Yeah, no, I go every year. I bring my grandchildren. We're fortunate that we have somebody who owns a box, and my cousins own the box next door, so it's kind of like a real fun time. So, but the grandstands every seat in the grandstands is a great seat.
We were in the grandstands maybe 2 years ago, and it was the first time I had gone on that, to a live race there.
Oh, it's so
on
fun.
the weekend, and it was so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
And I was surprised. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it nearly as much as I did.
It's a blast. I grew up, I'm from Goshen, so I grew up going to the racetrack and hanging out there. I would never, but going to the races, and that was, so real quick, so Harriman, this is a big Harriman thing, when he passed away, so Goshen used to have betting, so we have all the betting booths and stuff like that, you can see that, but when Harriman died, he banned betting from the races in Goshen, because he said he banned them until his youngest grandchild was over the age of 21. I guess he felt it wasn't really that great for people. And then, so they stopped the betting, and they just never started up again. Of course, his youngest grandchild is probably now 61.
Right.
But so we never went back to betting, but it was, in its day, it was a true blast.
Right. But I will also say that even when you're sitting there, right, like the camaraderie, right, people for each race, people dollar bet with each other the whole time.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like, it's
You get the brochure.
It's super fun.
Every horse. They have the names, the color. It's really a lot of fun. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on in the Warwick area. Yeah, Applefest is October, but Goshen's July.
Right. We just had, up in Pine Bush, this past weekend was a UFO festival, which is my
I know. I wanted to go, but
I know.
Yeah, that's so fun.
We had planned to go, and then we had a family thing, so we missed it this year, which makes me so sad.
Yeah, my brother actually saw a UFO in Pine Bush.
For real?
Yeah, in the 70s, back to the 70s.
Interesting.
Yeah, like over, a mountain. He was up on wherever he was, and
it was.
He said it was plain as day.
It was the 70s.
It was the 70s.
Who knows?
Too.
What was inducing his visions?
Right. But he said he saw a UFO, and now you look at the Main Street. You can't go down Main Street without seeing a alien in a window or something. It's so fun.
There is this new UFO, and I say new. It's like new to me because but over the last few years, there's this UFO museum that is there, and they have this very interesting walkthrough history of UFOs in the area. They do a lot of events. Some are kid focused, like they have like a scavenger hunt through the exhibit that you can do.
Yeah, and now you've had Air Force pilots from the military in Congress speaking about their UFO experiences.
Yeah, it's super. I mean,
so it's something, whether it's clandestine government here on our Earth or it's something from way out where, who knows?
Who knows? But we're at the end of our show.
Yeah, what a fun show. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be back.
Tune in next week.
Bye.
Bye.